Good day, everybody. Welcome back to another What's This Then? And before I dive right into it, I know it's been a little minute since my last video, and just with the move and everything going on, kind of hard to like really focus on making stuff. Just when you got a move coming up, and obviously during the move, and then sort of wanted to settle it and make sure my internet's all good and all that sort of business before I started jumping back into making videos. But here we are, feeling good about it. Move went well, and yeah, I'm excited to get back into streaming, get back into making videos, doing all sorts of things. But yeah, other than that, let's get on with this one. So, today we're talking about Orcs Must Die Deathtrap. It is the 4th, I believe, installment in the Orcs Must Die franchise, which, if you're unfamiliar, is a shooting slash hack and slash tower defense. So you're going to be placing the traps, but you're also going to be in there like fighting the enemies as well. Now in previous games, you could sort of sway that one way or the other. You know, like you could be like, I want to do less traps, I'll do more attacking myself. Maybe I'll just put some traps to help me fight. Or I want to do no fighting, I'll try and focus on traps only and stuff. You know, it might be a little bit harder. The game really is designed with the mix in mind. This one goes with a little bit of a different approach. Still the same whole, your character is going to be fighting just as much as the traps are doing stuff. Although I would say it definitely sways more to the character doing the fighting. At least when you start jumping up in player number, I would say. Because this one's a bit different. This is the first one with 4-player co-op, and they've decided to change up how things work quite significantly. But before we jump into that, I'll sort of talk about that more once we get into it here. But let's go through the settings. It's a decent little variety of settings. You know, you got your DLSSs, you got your anti-aliasing. Now, performance in this game can be a little bit weird. 1 minute it will be running flawlessly, absolutely no issues, and next minute it will be absolutely crapping the bed. Now, I've had kind of different experiences with this. Now, I'm running everything on Ultra, so you may say like, oh, that's your issue. I think it is also an optimization issue, and it could also be if you're hosting a lobby with multiple players issue. I believe you're running most of what's happening off your system. Because I've noticed that I have had significantly higher frame drops than friends while I've been co-oping with them. Now, they've been getting the frame drops as well, but it seems mine are significantly worse, and I'm the host, so I'm wondering if that has anything to do with that. It might do. Other than that, yeah, you got your pretty standard stuff, you know, your anti-aliasing options, you got your basic suite here, DLSS, and you can turn that off and on if you like that or not. Honestly, it doesn't really seem to make too much of a difference, because when the frame rate goes down, it will go down no matter if you have that on or not. And you got your like view distance, shadows, global illumination, all that sort of good stuff in there. Decent little suite. We head over into audio. You've got, yeah, pretty much a slider for everything you'd probably want it for, even like enemy dialogue and stuff, you know, if you just want the orcs to shut up. Although some of their lines are quite funny, I quite enjoy them. Gives a good bit of personality to the game. Yeah, and because obviously we've got co-op and stuff, you've got like your voice inputs and stuff like that, fairly standard stuff. It does not default to enable push to talk, so please, for the love of God, if you're playing this game with other people, go in here and turn on push to talk. Or just, you know, disable voice chat entirely if you're just going to play with friends in Discord or something. Gameplay settings, a little variety of stuff you can do here, you know, ADS toggle, sprint toggle, gore, reset the tutorials if you forget, field of view stuff, ADS, field of view, all sorts of different stuff, you know, it's nice little suite of gameplay stuff. Controls, sensitivities and whatnot, aim assist, all that sort of good stuff. Keyboard, you can rebind everything, we'd love to see that. And keypad, you can also rebind that stuff, which is always nice to see as well. Right, so let's jump into it. So, this is the hub. This is our little hub area. Now, the character system works a little bit differently. Before it was you had 2 characters, and each one of them had slight differences, mainly in like what weapons they could use, and a couple of trap variations if it's like 2 especially. This game has various characters to pick from, and they all have their own little abilities, and each one comes with a unique trap. Ignore Maximilian over here, he's kind of like a secret character, like a little Easter egg character. Haven't actually used him yet myself, but I've played around with pretty much all the characters so far. And they all seem pretty fun. I will say it's It's part of my issue with this game, and they're going for like this like roguelike approach instead of their traditional approach. And what that sort of means is you don't really grow the characters in the same way. You don't pick an item and then upgrade that item in a variety of ways. You kind of just pick a character that has some abilities, whether you like them or not, I guess, you know, because when you hard limit abilities and stuff to certain characters, there's always going to be some level of, you know, like, oh, I like this character, but I don't like this ability. You know, I wish he had that ability. You don't really have that option in this one. This one's a lot more about doing runs, so you don't just go through the game sequentially level by level like you did before, although it still kind of works like that. It's a little bit weird. I'll show you here. So you'll see down in the bottom left, this is how many missions I have to do this run. So I will do 4 basic missions, and then I will do a boss mission. So there's 3 options to pick from, and it will be randomized which map you get, and then it'll have a modifier of some kind, or like a debuff. So you'll see here, like, headshot damage is reduced by 50%, and critical hit chance is reduced by 10%. And these will be for every single map. And they'll all, so by the time you get to the boss fight, you'll have 4 of these debuffs, for example. I think there's one for the boss fight as well, so you might have 5. So it's very much, each time you run through the game, it's going to be a bit different. And right now, I don't think that's as good an approach as what they've done previously, or at least for me personally, it's not what I wanted from this. Personally, I just wanted Orcs Must Die 2 with 4-player co-op. That's what I wanted, but unfortunately that's just not quite what they've gone for here. So I'll show you the skill tree, and maybe that can sort of describe it a bit more. So you've got this massive universal skill tree that does, like, all traps now have 10% chance to critically hit. And this big bit in the middle is the universal part, so all characters benefit from this big part. And then on the left you have character-specific stuff. So you click over there, and you've got, like, their sort of stuff, blah, 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 but this stuff all stays. So you'll do a run. You'll get skulls every time you beat a level, as is tradition. You will come back and you will spend your skulls on potentially this.
Defend the rift.
So leveling up your character and whatnot. You can also spend it on upgrading your traps. Now, to get traps, every level you beat, you get a golden skull, and each new trap costs 1 golden skull. So this part I actually kind of like. So you do a mission, you beat a mission. It works better in this system. If they did this in the previous system, it would be far too slow. But in this game, I think it works out because you do a lot more levels back to back, sort of quicker, if that makes sense. So yeah, you get a golden skull. So you see, I've got one up here, so I can like unlock any of these new traps or whatever, and then I can go over to this character, and he will actually allow me to upgrade the traps. Now, one of the major downsides with the approach that they've gone to with this is that they don't let you upgrade the traps in interesting ways. With a slight caveat. They don't let you do it. So if I click on the ceiling pounder, the only thing I can upgrade about it is the price, damage, and reset time, which is all fairly basic stuff, and it's really minor upgrades. Like, damage going from 440 to 660, like, that's good, like, it's not bad, don't get me wrong, like, you want those upgrades, especially as the game starts getting harder and harder, but it's just not as interesting as it used to be.
But his work does.
Whereas before you could upgrade traps to do all sorts of crazy stuff, but I'll show you where that's sort of been relegated to now. They have this thread system. In between every round, in individual maps, you will get an option of 3 threads. And these threads are where this crazy variety comes in. So I can come here and I can buy them with skulls or whatever. Now, buying it here doesn't mean you get it, it means you get the option to get it. The possibility of getting it. And there's a library. I think you're the library one. That's quests, so you can do stuff in the game to also unlock them as well. So character specific ones, for example. So this is the library. So this is the ones. This is all the threads I have access to, and it's interesting in theory, but I don't think it works out because especially once you start getting more and more and more, it dilutes the pool, so you're less likely to get ones that you actually want to get. Now, it does filter them somewhat, so if you have no floor traps, you're not going to get any floor trap threads, for example. You're not going to get any threads for a character that you're not playing. So you're not going to get totally useless ones. They will always be at least somewhat useful, but you just might not get any interesting ones, like you know, you might just get floor traps deal 10% more damage, and that's like, whatever. Or you might get the floor springs can now launch ogres, whereas that used to be an upgrade that you could just put on your floor springs whenever you wanted and play around that. Now those sorts of upgrades come in randomly, and you can't really build around it. And they've gone with the idea of they want you to do like these randomized runs in which you have to like adapt to what your threads are giving you and what you've brought and stuff. And I just don't think it's as interesting, but it could be more interesting if one part of this is my least favorite part of the game. This is my biggest criticism. These maps suck. I don't think there's a single map I've played yet that I went like, yes, this is a great map. I love this map. Every map just feels like it wants to go against what the other Orcs Must Dies have done. And this is what makes me think that this game wants to lean more heavily on like the characters doing stuff rather than the traps. And that really comes to light with how they've changed the way the barricades work in this. Barricades used to just be a trap that you bought and could spend like any other. Now there's a hard limit on them. Initially. As you go through, you can get threads that like would increase your barricade placement limit by like 1 or 2 if you get the special version, or you might get the one that turns the traps into double traps or whatever, you know, like that. So it makes every map just feel so haphazardly put together. Especially some of the maps, if you play like right out the gate, so you have no barricade upgrades and stuff, and it just feels like you're scraping together something to try and make the maps work. It doesn't feel like the maps flow well, especially compared to the other ones, because the other ones were just, here's a big fuck off corridor, put your favorite traps in it, watch the numbers go up, and, you know, try to survive as long as possible, see if you can do it. And I personally, for me, that was what I enjoyed more about Orcs Must Die. Not the character stuff. Now, it's going to be each to their own. I understand this is a personal preference thing, and with this being the first like Orcs Must Die with 4-player co-op, that's definitely an element because that makes it more fun. But that's the whole argument of playing any game in co-op is more fun. So I don't really hold much weight in tossing all of that out for the 4-player co-op stuff. I don't know if it's just coincidence or that sort of stuff, but yeah, you'll see it more once I get into it here. I think it's actually about time I got into it. Actually, I'll show you the other war mages. So you'll see they all have elements from like previous games, like weapons or like former optional weapons they've turned into like their primary weapon or like an ability that they have, for example. But they've all got like different advantages. Like this character here, he puts down like a healing tree. That's his unique trap. So like they all have one. They can place those for free. This guy has a rift teleporter, so you put this somewhere, go interact with it, and it'll teleport you back to the rift instantly. She has time crystals, which reduces the reset time of any traps it's touching, but it doesn't do diagonal, only if it's touching a flat surface of it. She gets bomb barrels, so she can just put them down and blow them up. He gets a gravity lift, because he's kind of like a sniper. I know he has a big wrench, and it's a little bit random, but yeah, his wrench is actually a sniper rifle, if you can believe that. So he can put a gravity lift so he can fly up in the sky and just snipe people from like miles away. He gets the healing berries, which do a very good chunk of healing. So if you're ever getting attacked by like a gnoll hunter or something like that, you can run back to these and heal pretty well. And then Sophie's kind of like an assassin, gets like bear traps, essentially. Can pin enemies in place and then do extra damage to them and stuff like that. And then Maximilian, he's kind of got just a bunch of his old stuff. He's got the friendly flip trap, so you can send yourself flying if you want to get into an advantageous spot or jump between lanes that have maybe a gap in the middle. Kind of dangerous actually, because there's a lot of water on some of these maps. But yeah, and then you've got like the friend finder here, so the social menu, so you can do. Actually, I don't think there's any matchmaking in this. Now that I just think about that, was there matchmaking here? There must be. Oh, lobby list, there it was there. Yeah, so you can do some like server browsing, essentially. Okay, so I think it's about time we jumped into a mission, because I think that's all I really wanted to show. So, let's see. Overdrive, this one here is probably fine to go for. It's kind of like your ult. It builds from doing combos. So I think that's fine. We'll just jump into that.
I've been waiting.
And you get a little countdown timer. You can also adjust the difficulty, although the difficulty just seems to go like... It just says 2 times difficulty, but it doesn't say what that means. if that makes sense. Is it more orcs? Is it more health for the orcs? Is it done. All of that? So this is one of the maps here, and this is... I'm sort of middle of the road on this one. It's not my least favorite, but it's not like up there either. But you'll see that they're very open compared to previous Orcs Must Dies. Like, the size of this map, there's so many paths and so many routes and so many doors. And then barricades being limited. It's just a way of playing the game that I'm not particularly fond of, personally. Just because when I play my tower defense games, I like to make big, you know, hallways of towers that mess up enemies. That's a lot of fun. So we'll say, for example, we'll put this along here, so enemies not using the rift ghost to see where they're gonna go is absolutely vital, because the maps can get so complex, especially when it's your first time playing a new map. It can get so complicated to look at that you just have to like chuck down traps and see what happens to the ghosts. It's like your trial and error to find out what the best thing to do is. So we can kind of force them to go around here, and you can sort of toss them down in there. Some maps have some more unique environmental hazards and stuff. So that's going to force all the orcs down this hallway, so we can do something there. But then there's two doors are going to open here as well, which is a bit of a problem. Actually,
all right, orcs.
Did this last night
now.
when I was playing co-op. Let's see if I'm gonna have enough for this. No, I don't, unfortunately, because they're gonna come down here now, and that's not good enough. So I think what I'm gonna have to do, because I like to think ahead before the other doors open, because you don't want to be. You need to kind of use all your barricades with the idea of the whole map in mind, because you can't guarantee that you're gonna get more barricades through the thread system. So you just have to be very careful that way. So that'll probably do for now, and then we can start working on some traps. Classic Orcs Must Die fashion. So I could get some flippers, but they're not really my thing. They're not the sort of thing I've spec'd into. I've recently wanted to try the electricity traps, because they're the one sort of trap I haven't really tried yet. And give them some of that to worry about. I have a lot more money when I'm not playing in co-op.
Nowhere is safe.
They've also made some interesting changes, like tar traps don't endlessly slow anymore. They have like a cooldown period. It's a little bit different. I don't know why they would need to change that, personally. I feel like they worked fine. And what else do I want to be? You know what? Screw it. Why am I overthinking this? Not sure what kind of range the lightning traps have. If they zap all the way down. Yes, it looks like they do. Lovely. And we'll just put some more tar traps. We'll get this show on the road.
Key to any good
On the
strategy.
road? On the road. Jesus, I have so much money. Extra barricade here would be nice, but I don't have that luxury. But yeah, let's ready up
My crossbow
and get the orcs coming. So this part's as any other Orcs Must Die would be. You know, they come through the doors, they try to get to the rift, you try to stop them by killing them, getting to the rift. There will be various variety of orcs and enemies. Some enemies will ignore your barricades, like flyers and gnoll hunters. They'll come for you specifically, try to kill you, and they can be kind of dangerous, especially in the later runs, because enemies keep getting stronger and stronger as the levels go on, as you might imagine. Got a little shield orc. Thankfully this character has an ability that makes short work of them, because it penetrates through. Now the actual shooting of the orcs, like killing of them, is probably the best it's been. It's very satisfying to do. I haven't really played around with the melee too much, so I can't speak too greatly to how the melee sort of viability, how it feels, that sort of stuff. I've mostly been playing ranged characters. The sniper character is very strong, but when things go wrong as that character, it's very easy to die. Because you don't have a lot of utility for stopping enemies, like, who are up in your face. You have like this little time grenade, and that can be kind of good, but it doesn't last super long, and if a knoll's up in your face, you know, it can be kind of tough. This is what it sort of means. You could, no, it's not to say you couldn't do this in the other Orcs Must Die, you very much could, but it feels definitely more like fighting is what they want you to do. They want that to be like a much higher priority. Because I've pretty much done like this entire wave without enemies getting to a single trap. And again, that wouldn't be unheard of in the other Orcs Must Dies, but it's very easy to do in this. And if you get like if you get certain threads between the rounds, you know, you could really buff out your character. And I guess that's the appeal of this version, or this like style that they've taken the game in. Is that you know, you never really know what sort of run you're gonna get. And I will say as well, normally with these like run-based games, normally the currency, so in this case skulls, that you would get can be a bit stingy, so it requires a lot of grinding. But this game actually does it in an opposite way. It gives you a lot of skulls, especially if you complete a full run and beat the boss. Like, you get so many skulls. Like, that skill tree, I went through, like, maybe a third of it off one good run.
Gotta reload.
And upgrading the traps and stuff isn't that expensive. Getting the traps as well, like the individual traps themselves, is pretty easy as well. Like, they're not too hard. So here we go. Here's the thread system. So in between every round, we get some here. So Bang Day Hazard will only cost 1 rift point. So normally it costs 5. Army damage increased by 25% while standing still. Or bigger batteries. Shock Zapper gains an additional charge. So I got this one because I have this trap. If I did not have this trap, I would not get this one, you know. So it's kind of focused in that way. So you're not going to, like I said, not going to get totally useless ones by any means. I'm going to get that one because, me personally, I like the traps. I like focusing on the traps. Let's put a plant there. Seems pretty good to me. And then they're going to start coming through that other door now, so we need to start getting some stuff working away over here. Let's see, what can we do here? I want to force them against the wall. Only having 3 traps is not ideal. Or 3 barricades, sorry. So this is the part that kind of like, you know, it's tough to... It can be tough in some areas if you've used all your barricades in some other areas, because you're just never going to get the option. Unless you get lucky with the threads. Okay, no rift traps here, so I'll just put a bunch of these along here.
Complete without the wall traps.
I'm not actually too sure if enemy health scales with player count.
Get ready, war mages.
Because the enemies didn't feel... Well, let's put that there, I don't need that there.
We got more company.
We can put that there.
This barricade will keep them out.
So yeah, they're gonna start coming out of this door now, as you might imagine. Got 2 big shield ogres, we can deal with them, no bother. Other characters might struggle a bit more with them. I know the sniper character can struggle more because you have to shoot their little heads. And the projectile size on the sniper rifle is actually quite large, so it can be very easy to hit the shield instead of their head. In fact, one of the thread upgrades you can get for that is to make the projectile like twice as big, and I picked that thinking like, oh great, because if the projectile hits their head at all, it will be a headshot. But the problem with making that, with the exception of the shield, if it hits their body, and it hits the head in any way, then it will be a headshot. But I got the larger projectile thinking like, oh yeah, I'll be able to headshot things easier, and then came across one of those shield ogres, and I just literally could not headshot him in any way. It was quite funny. So you can have like game-changing moments like that, I suppose. And you can see him getting combos, you know, you like combos. Orcs Must Die, typical part of the whole gameplay. Combos in this one are used to build your alt charge. You'll see in the bottom right, my Z there. So basically you need to do combos to build that, unless there is a thread you can get that makes it so just kills do it. Oh, hello, forgot about you. Some enemies drop skulls as usual, some drop rift coins, all that sort of good business. So yeah, each character has an alt, some more useful than others. I'd say the sniper character's alt isn't that insane, although it's mainly used for... the main useful for that one is bosses. Because if you can get a boss to stand still for a bit, you can just press your alt and it highlights the boss, and anything that's highlighted you do extra damage to, extra crit damage and stuff, so you can really nuke a boss down if they stand still with that alt. This character's alt, for example, puts a temporary shield around the rift. Now the enemies still go into it, but the rift doesn't take any damage, which is amazing, so if a big horde of like ogres gets through, you can just activate that and they all go in and die, but don't actually cause the rift any points. You've got like the assassin character whose alt brings out a skeleton that they resurrect that goes around and kills things for them. All sorts of different stuff. Again, I would personally prefer if we just had, like, you know, the 2 characters, or now with 4-player co-op, if it was 4 characters that you could sort of switch out, like, loadouts, you know, different, like, weapons and stuff. Personally, I prefer that more, just because then you can build your character exactly how you want them, instead of needing to rely that the loadouts of these characters fit something that you want. Yeah, it's pretty easy going so far, as you can, as you might be able to see. But we got another door opening up, so things are about to get a little bit spicier. Double wide, so there's the barricade thing. Double wide barricades. So, has that just sold all my barricades? Yes, yes it has. Okay, so I need to replace those.
The orcs will follow my commands.
So that does completely change how the map works now, which is interesting, because now I have just so much more potential for traps. A little bit awkward because some of these 3x ones require me to do that with it, and it's a little bit not optimal, but sure look. Does mean I can do that and save 2. Is this actually gonna let me? Yeah, that'll do like that. Perfect. So now we can do, you know, now we can do extra stuff, because I've got 11 of these to work with, to do something here with. We could start mazing them a bit, if I wanted to.
So lead them to where I want.
Maybe do a little bit something like that. Force them against the wall more here. So I could put more traps up there. Force them around this side. You know, do whatever. You know, now the traps, now the double barricades is up, now you get to experiment a bit more. This is where it would be nice if you could just go into a level with this stuff. I feel like these levels would just be more inherently enjoyable with this sort of stuff if you could go into them yourself with that idea. Technically it might be best to push them over there, but... yeah, because they're not going to go through that so much anymore. You also need to make it big enough so that the bigger ogres can get through. There we go. So we well and truly pathed. I could probably do that more efficiently right now, but... trying to talk about the game and plan. A little bit tricky. That was the fun part about when I decided to start making videos like this.
Nowhere is safe.
Was talking about the game while also playing the game can be a little bit tricky depending on what game it is you're currently talking about.
Those orcs have no idea what's coming.
Unfortunately, I can't place anything on the roof here. That would be very lovely if I could do that.
Floor traps. Key to any good strategy.
Get some of these down so they get poisoned the whole way through. That would be nice. Alright. Let's go ahead with that, see how that does.
like they brought friends.
I believe there's 5 waves. Although, when I've been playing co-op, it's a little bit random, it feels like. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 6. The most recent ones we've been doing have been 6, so I don't know if it's, you know, as we've been doing more and more runs, they're now all going up to 6, and if we beat the next boss, maybe it'll all go up to 7. Very much could be like that. There's not a lot of explaining in the game. The tutorial, for example, is literally just you go talk to Maximilian, and he shows you some tutorial videos, and that's it. And then you get some basic prompts whenever you go into your first map about what the rift is. So there are some elements of this game that maybe feel a little bit more rushed, like stuff like that, really. Like I said, the part of this game that makes me just sort of go like, I don't know, is definitely the map design.
Rift protection is ready to go.
I just don't look at any of these maps and go like, I'm looking forward to figuring or to putting traps on this map, you know. Those goblins on balloons, they're so annoying. Like, you go into the first level, like, so I loaded up, I tried to load up Orcs Must Die 1, just to go through the games again for a little bit, just to see, you know, refresh myself on how they played, compared to this. You can't actually play Orcs Must Die 1 on Windows 11 right now, like, it is just fully broken. If you try to launch it, it'll pop up an error message, and it'll open a page on your browser that says, hey, so this game is broken on Windows 11 right now, we've tried to contact Microsoft to fix it, because it's apparently a Windows 11 bug specifically. The only solution is to downgrade to Windows 10. So, yeah, you can't play Orcs Must Die 1 if you're on Windows 11 right now, it's just not possible. But I went back to Orcs Must Die 2, and even the first level fills me with more like, I can't wait to start placing traps on this map. And just seeing it fuck up orcs. Than like any map in this game. So that would be my biggest criticism. The other one being trap upgrading. You just can't upgrade them in as fun a fashion as you could in the other ones. You know, like, 2 people could bring a trap and they could get totally different use cases out of them. Chance to crit, sure. Although I don't know why I've just picked that, because the only thing I'm really using is tar traps. It's because I forgot I had this on me as well, so I suppose I might as well start placing them.
Nowhere is safe.
Yeah, the trap upgrade system, like it being in the threads, like you can't go into it with your favorite trap and be like, yeah, I want to do this with this, you know? It's like, just use it, basically, and then if you get a cool thing, great. If you don't, sucks, you know?
They still come barefoot.
It's one of those situations where this game, to me, would have been a lot better received. Well, by myself, and judging by Steam reviews, it seems like a lot of people are sort of feeling a similar sentiment. It would have been better received if this wasn't called Orcs Must Die. If this had a different name, a different coat of paint on it, this would be well received. Because it's not bad. It's just not... It's just, in my opinion, has been done better. By the same series earlier on. Now, I could understand, like, maybe Orcs Must Die 3 didn't sell very well, and, you know, you have to spice things up to get the, you know, like, new players in and stuff like that. I just don't think this was the way to do it. I think the 4-player co-op thing, honestly, would have been enough in and of itself if you just offered that along with traditional Orcs Must Die gameplay. So it is a little bit of a shame, and I hope, if they get the chance to do another one, because I do hope this does well enough that they can make another one, that I would hope they would go back, or take what was good about this, and take what's good about the previous series and sort of combine them. Because the four-player co-op is one of the reasons I was so excited to play this. And then just in general, Orcs Must Die is just really fun to play, you know? But, like I said, for me, just the gameplay of this one just isn't quite there. But stuff like I said, like the combat, like the actual shooting of the orcs and stuff has never felt better. Very satisfying. The gib effects, the gore, all that sort of stuff. Like it's all really good stuff.
How many is that now?
Especially when you're playing the sniper character. He is very satisfying. Just mop up a few more orcs. See what I mean? I can just kind of hold them all here, like no problem at all. Oh, grab a wee skull there. So yeah, you do get a lot of skulls. Like you'll probably come out of a run with like, I think the last run we did, we didn't co-op. I think if we had beat the boss at the end, we were gonna get like, I think we would have walked out of that with like 2,000 skulls. Now things do get more like exponentially expensive. So like you'll upgrade a trap and it'll only cost 10, and it'll cost like 40, and 70, and then you know the last one will cost like maybe like 100, 200 or so. The skill tree seems to be mainly where the big dump of skulls is, especially your character specific stuff. Electrified applied to lightning traps will chain to one additional enemy. Well, that sounds very good, doesn't it?
I'm always ready.
The lightning traps, I'm having a lot of fun with those actually. I never really bothered with these much. So I guess that's like one of the one of the benefits of this sort of system is I do feel like I am using a wider variety of traps. Like I'm not just finding what works and sticking to it. It's actually like sort of encouraged more experimentation because I can't guarantee that I'm just going to be able to go into every map and use my super special trap that I've upgraded in a very specific way every single time. So there is definitely that benefit, because I rarely use, like, say, these poison flowers or the electrified traps. Now, the one thing I did use is the tar traps. Fucking love the tar traps. Always great. Now, they have made them a bit weaker, like I said, by making it so they actually cool down instead of just continuously slow, but they still do the job. But it is, yeah, like I said, it has encouraged a bit more experimentation with the traps on my end, I feel like, so I definitely appreciate that side of it. Oh, I forgot, one of my character's passive makes it so the rift shoots lightning at orcs that get too close, which is very handy for flyers when they sneak past. Or like these little guys.
Do what I must.
I would say as well, one of the cool things is if you were doing the old map design with 4-player co-op and like infinite barricades or as much as you could spend really and all that sort of business, it would become very mindless, where playing it the way the game is designed now, we have to communicate. Like every map is okay, can we do that strategy that worked last time? If not, how do we figure out this next thing? Because we all have to coordinate our barricades. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. We all have to coordinate our barricades and stuff, because as you put more players on the map, it's not like we get more barricades, it's just the amount of barricades you can place gets divvied up between all the players. Same with the amount of traps that you can place, you know, like at 3 players I can place, what was it, 4 or 5 traps, something like that. So it does encourage a lot of synergy and being like, okay, what are you bringing, you know, are you going to place your thing here, I'll place my thing there, that'll be a good little combo with our stuff, you know, especially when you start factoring in like sort of unique traps, although they don't have as huge an impact as I would have thought. I suppose they're free, so, you know, they can't be like game changers by any means. That was wave 5, yeah, so I think we got one more to do here. Range is doubled, but damage is reduced by half. Nope, don't want that. Applies electrified, sure.
This is your path.
This will probably be the last wave, I imagine. Let's just... It'll probably be no problem.
Left,
this
right,
has been going
center.
extremely
Don't be
smoothly.
surrounded.
And there's certain... Sometimes whenever you're picking a level, and you have to pick but one of the sort of negative modifiers. Sometimes you can really get messed up by those. Like there's one we picked the other night that was sapper kobolds, the ones that sort of suicide into your traps and do damage.
Nowhere is safe.
They are really dangerous in this game. Because limited barricade placement means that you are like min-maxing the shit out of them. So like if any of this falls, any of these barricades fall, it completely messes up my entire setup. And sapper kobolds, if you're not paying attention, could just run into that, blow it up. And now that round is like scuffed as all hell. It's like panic stations. Could be the end of a run. Very easily could be. And almost has been to us sometimes. So they are very spooky in that sense. I suppose that highlights like the new sort of way they want barricades to work, is they want barricades to be like a filtration system more so than something that optimizes trap placement. So before, like, we would have a big hallway and you would maybe put a barricade to like, yeah, like maze them through like this to put them closer to the traps, but now barricades are mostly used as a way to block off paths so that they're forced to go to where you want them to go. That's sort of the best way to describe the new way that the traps seem to have been designed around. You know, it just started up here. I'm sure it'll be fine.
It's all been leading up to this.
Music's pretty great. Have to give them props there for sure. Some of the maps have had some really fun music.
Flyers. They still come barefoot.
Just chuck these down everywhere. Flyers, gonna have to keep an eye out for those. Yeah, these electrified traps are either doing really well or the game is a lot easier solo.
Like lambs to the slaughter. The ugly, disgusting, bloodthirsty ones.
Or it could be both. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. And Noel just getting zapped. Like, yeah, Noel getting insta-zapped by the rift. That... I would not have seen that ever in co-op, I feel like. Here come the flyers, we'll deal with them, no problem at all. These mages can be a pain in the ass, especially in co-op, or as the runs get harder, because they are exceptionally tanky, and if you're not paying attention, they will be at the rift before you even like realize they're there. And then it doesn't matter how much damage you do, they will get in. Because you'll put them down to like 10% of their HP, and then they'll just decide, you know what? I'm gonna peace out, just jump into the rift.
One sec, I'm out.
Cool, so there's one mage left, he's really the only threat, and everything else is dying nicely to the traps.
I hope it hurt.
Trolls have some regenerating health. I just realized I don't really have anything to stop that bar the charcoal stuff with the lava floors.
Away from the
And something in it. It was the mage. I forgot about the mage. I said to pay attention to the mage and I forgot about the mage. So easily done. I'm gonna blame that on the fact that I'm making a video at the same time though. And dismiss all responsibility. Unfortunately, I think that was the only thing that got through that whole run. Maybe I was wrong.
Any other way?
Yeah, wave 6 looks like that is it done. Cool. So that's what a typical level in Orcs Must Die, at least when playing solo, looks like. And when you beat a mission, you get your golden skull, you get your regular skulls, and you get a rift blessing if you gamble forward. So what you do by gambling forward is by forfeiting your ability to go back and spend your skulls to upgrade your stuff. But, so you head on to the next level instantly. You get more skulls and you get a rift blessing. And some of these can be really, really good. So War Mage Death will cost no rift points for the next mission only. So dying is no consequence. So if we got that, for example, we could then pick a level that maybe has a lot more like pit hazards. So falling into them just wouldn't matter. Or if gnolls are becoming a problem and they're downing us, just doesn't matter. you know? Like, dying just no consequence. So it just completely changes how you can sort of position yourself as a player. So there is like a lot of interesting stuff going on with this system. You can also see score summary, mission stats, all that sort of stuff. So you can see how much war mage damage you did, blah, blah, blah. Traps sold, all that sort of business. I don't believe you can see individual trap effectiveness, like how much this specific trap did, which is a bit unfortunate. So for this one, I'm just going to return to the fortress. So you can go... Oh, you will abandon the run. Oh. So, interesting. So we've never actually returned to the fortress. We've always gambled forward. So that just abandons the run. Interesting.
A new
I
thread
will
appears.
defend Rift.
And you get some new threads as well, based on stuff that you did. So deal 10,000 damage with lightning. So now chain combo is now a thread that's a potential. Kill 200 enemies with fire traps. Hot-headed is now a thread that's a potential to get. Kill 500 light orcs. Placement limit for time crystals increased by 1. That's actually pretty good. Again, it's good, but you have to be lucky enough to get it. You know, so you can't build around it, and that's the part that I'm like, I don't know. You know, that's very much a 50-50 thing. The main stuff, just to sort of conclude on the game, it's good. It's not the best offering Orcs Must Die has ever given, in my personal opinion. I think 2 is probably the best, at least in like the co-op experience, 'cause that's the main way I played it. The maps are the worst they've ever been, by far. Although it is a different ideology that comes into them in terms of like how they were made. Like, you know, it's much more about filtering orcs through specific paths rather than here's your hallway, fuck them up in this hallway specifically, you know, try to make this hallway the best hallway it can be. It's more so turn this map into something that is to your advantage. The character system, I can give or take either way. I think I prefer the older system where I could pick unique items and bring them in and really tailor my character's loadout to what I want. However, the abilities in this seem to be more impactful, especially because of the fact they're on cooldown based instead of mana bar based. So it's just, you know, blast it when you got it sort of thing, really. Yeah, the trap upgrade system, definitely the weakest. Apart from the map design, definitely the weakest aspect. I miss being able to upgrade traps in really unique ways, and even if 2 people brought the same trap, it's very unlikely that they're going to have like the exact same utility. Whereas now if 2 people bring lightning traps, it's kind of like, why? You know, it's pointless. Unless someone gets a lucky card, you know. But going into the first level when you don't have a bunch of cards, like bringing the same trap twice, it doesn't really do a whole lot. You know, you may as well switch it up. But then, you know, then again, that also promotes the idea of team synergy and coordinating and all that sort of stuff. So it depends on what you like and it depends on what you don't like. But overall, I'd say this one is pretty good. Like I said, you can get it for... see what platforms it's on. Xbox Series S and X. GeForce Now, it's on Game Pass, and it's on Steam. Came out on like the 20th of January there. Robot Entertainment, the same dev and publisher as the other ones. You can pick it up on Steam for about $24.99 or $29. However, it is on Game Pass, like I said, so that's where I've been playing it personally. And yeah, like, it's alright, you know, especially if you want to experience Orcs Must Die with 3 other friends, this is the only way to do it. And it's not terrible at it. It just has some glaring weak points for me, which you may not agree with, you know. You may think they're fine. So, yeah. Pretty good. Got some missteps. Yeah, that'll do it for me. Thanks for watching.